Hey guys, how's it going? Check this out. My hands are in the computer. So I originally got this idea from a Destructoid video, which I will link up here in the cards and down there in the description. Thanks so much to Destructoid for doing a video and making step-by-step instructions in their blog. What I'm trying to accomplish here is actually to simulate motion controllers in SteamVR using Leap Motion. Leap Motion is this nifty little gadget that transforms your arm movements into on-screen gestures. It is primarily geared towards virtual reality, but it does have some desktop applications. I'm not going to get into the review of the product this time around. What I'll be doing in this video is trying to connect to SteamVR. So for this, what I'll be doing is using the Leap Motion controllers first and foremost, and then the Riftcat Vridge app on my smartphone. I'm not going to get into how to install VRH on your phone and on your computer. I did a video before that, and you can find it in the card up top or in the description down below. And of course, it's all packaged into the smartphone VR headset. So I'm running this SteamVR tutorial right now. Let's follow along.
Alright, I'm back on my good microphone. But actually, before you can even get to the SteamVR tutorial, you have to install the drivers that will let SteamVR recognize Leap Motion. The link for these drivers is in the description. Take a read through the requirements. You have to have the Leap Motion Orion beta installed, as well as Visual C++. Then just pop over to the releases and download the latest one. I've got the alpha release number 8. After you download the zip file, just extract it and run the software. Make sure to run it as an administrator just in case. Now initially the drivers were not working for me, but later on I found out that you actually have to copy the drivers from the install folder into the VR folder of Steam. This folder you can find in your Steam directory. It is located under Steam Apps and then Common folder. The folder itself is called OpenVR. Then you'll find the drivers folder inside, and that's where you can copy Leap folder from the installation directory. This has solved my issue of SteamVR not recognizing Leap Motion, and then I was finally able to do the SteamVR tutorial. The gestures were mainly centered around pressing the thumb button, but I found that the trigger worked as well. The tracking was not perfect to say the least, but it was still pretty amazing to feel as though your hands were inside the game without any sort of controllers. With the software issues settled, it was time to modify the hardware a little bit. Leap Motion has a so-called Universal VR Developer Mount. It's available for purchase separately or as part of a VR developer bundle. My Leap Motion did not come with one, so I had to come up with my own version of a developer mount. I call it the Cheap YouTuber VR Mount, brought to you in part by Scotch Tape. The bottom of Leap Motion is rubberized. That helps it not slide around on the surface of a table. At first I thought it would be useful for me, but I could see that the tape was not sticking well. The tape and the rubber were just not getting along well. I still attached it to my smartphone VR headset, and surprisingly it was holding fairly well as I was doing my comprehensive stress test. I still decided to reinforce it some more on the 3 sides. I really wouldn't want this controller to fall during gameplay. And after all was said and done, I added more tape for good measure, and now I was ready to dip my hands into VR. And the first and only game I tried was The Lab. It's a free VR game from Valve available on Steam. I found it very tough to be able to navigate through the game, but somehow found myself in the Vesper Park. The visuals were quite stunning, but to travel around the park you could only go to specific spots. That requires precision aiming, which I'm assuming is not that hard with a controller, but with Leap Motion it definitely had trouble recognizing where I'm trying to aim, or when I'm trying to press the button. The problem could be with the sensor, as Leap Motion may require better calibration. At first it felt very cool to be able to manipulate the game with your bare hands, but after a while the inability to properly control the game started to get rather annoying. The potential is definitely there, it's just not fully realized yet. This is the view from Leap Motion itself. You can see that the finger tracking is actually pretty good. The software has no problems recognizing my hands when they go on and off the screen. The fingers are generally recognized well too, but it's definitely not perfect. So far I'm thinking it may have something to do with the background. If I could get a uniform dark background I may get a better response. My final thought on this when it comes to SteamVR games is that although it's a cool cheap alternative to expensive VR headsets, it is far from being a replacement for them. It's very cool to tinker around with it, but I wouldn't purchase it just to play SteamVR games. Having said that, I think leap motion has so much potential. Using just your hands without any controllers is by far the coolest way to play a game, at least in my opinion. I'm definitely looking forward to future software upgrades that will make tracking more precise. And actually I have a few more things to test out for leap motion in the near future, so please stay tuned for more VR related videos. Thanks so much for watching this one, I hope this was useful to you. If you have previous experience with leap motion, please comment on this video, I'm very curious to hear what your experience has been so far. And as usual, please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and a thumbs down if your experience differs. And please subscribe to my channel for more content like this and other gameplay videos. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Well, my leap motion got super hot. I'm actually burning my fingers here a little. But my tape stayed on.